right. Good morning, Alora, and it's so nice to meet you. I am Liz Fuller from the Southport Historical Society, and you are Alora Boehner.
Yes, ma'am. Good
Right?
morning.
Great, wonderful, and I'm so glad to talk to you. And
you.
you are taking part in the Southport Open Your Doors art project, and we really
Yes,
appreciate you doing that.
I'm really excited.
Oh, good. So tell me a little bit about your background as an artist. Are you a professional artist?
Oh, no, ma'am. I am a technical writer, but I have always done art ever since I was a kid. I consider myself to be artsy and crafty, but not really an artist.
Nice. Okay, so what prompted you to then take part in this project?
I am one of the marshmallow cleaners here on the island. After Hurricane Isaias, a couple of us volunteers grouped together and started cleaning the Davis Canal on Oak Island. Officially, we are the Davis Canal Marsh Cleaners, but casually, we are the marshmallows. And we have so far pulled out 6 tons of debris from the marsh. And I'm kind of the micro trash specialist of the group. While everybody else is getting all the big stuff, I'm picking up the cigarette butts and the bottle caps and things like that. So throughout this whole experience, I knew that I wanted to make some sort of art with what I was picking up. And I follow some artists on Instagram who create art with found litter. And I knew I couldn't do something that was as good as them, but every time I was picking up the cigarette butts, I thought, I'll do something with these one day. And so when I saw the Open Your Doors project, I thought, this is it. I think I can do something with this. So that's what it really inspired me to come up with a way to create art with the cigarette butts.
That is just so unique. And I love the fact that you were thinking, I'd like to make artwork with this if I just had the opportunity. And then we have this opportunity for artists. We just need to find artists. And so it just came together. That's just wonderful.
Yes, it really does feel like it was meant to be.
Now, tell me the organization, the Marshmallows, the Marsh Cleaners, it's a formal organization?
Oh no, it's just a ragtag team of people who, after we saw what was going on in the marsh after the hurricane, our leader, Edward Lovett, he posted on Facebook asking people to come and clean. And there were a bunch of people that started, and it's kind of dwindled down to like about 10 or so of us. So we're kind of like the official marshmallows, but
the hardcore marshmallows.
We're the hardcore marshmallows. We're thinking about maybe starting a 501(c), but we don't know yet.
That is just fascinating. So the original debris came because of a hurricane.
Yes.
And then cleaning up. And then do you feel like it's ongoing, still left from the hurricanes and the storms, or are people throwing littering?
We've pretty much gotten the Davis Canal all cleaned up from the hurricane, so we're kind of branching out to other areas that have just been not ever cleaned up from maybe past storms or just from litter. So it's not really hurricane related anymore.
Okay, it's just ongoing litter.
Yes.
Well, I hope that this project then will help raise awareness of that, because I certainly did not realize there was that much littering going on that you could. How much did you say you picked up in cigarette butts?
Oh, well, my cigarette butts, I've picked up so far 5,000 just starting this project. But we've pulled out 6 tons of litter from the marsh after the hurricane.
Yeah, I had no clue as to how that all gets cleaned up. So thank you so much for doing that.
Well, you're welcome.
And so now so tell us what you're going to do with these cigarette butts.
All right, so the door that I have is door number 2. It has 5 indentations in the door, so that's where the project is going to happen. I'm leaving the rest of the door as is. I love the look of it. So what I'm going to do is adhere the cigarette butts to the door in the shape of Old Baldy, which is the oldest lighthouse in North Carolina. It's on Bald Head Island. And I want to paint a sky and marsh scene behind it. And then I want to pour epoxy in the indentations to seal everything together. So that's the overall idea.
That's amazing. Now, I see the wall behind you. Did you paint that as well?
Yes. Yeah, that was my first ever mural. So
Okay,
I
nice.
learned a lot. Our favorite band is called Surfaces. They are very beachy to us. And so this is inspired by one of their album covers.
Okay, that's wonderful. All right, so you're going to paint the scene of Old Baldy, and then you're going to put the cigarette butts on top of the part that's Old Baldy. Is that, do I kind of have that
Basically,
right?
I'm basically gonna kind of trace out where Old Baldy's going to be and then paint around that with
Oh, I see.
yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is ambitious. So how do you think you have enough cigarette butts, or are you still adding to your collection?
Well, when I asked my husband to kind of do some math for me and see how many I needed, and he said about 4,000. So I have 5,000 that I've collected over the past month, but my goal is to get 8,000 just so I can have a good mixture. I get to, pick and choose what cigarette butts I use.
Good one.
I want to get the marshmallows together to help me collect the last 3,000. So that hasn't happened yet, but everyone knows it's going to happen. We just got to organize the event. But
And so all your friends know that you're doing this, or at least all the
oh
marshmallows.
yes,
Well, that is
yes,
fascinating. So when you submitted that, or after you won, I looked at that, and I thought this was, I mean, totally groundbreaking. But apparently, other people do cigarette butt art. Were you aware of that, or did you come up with this originally, or?
oh no. So when I saw the Open Your Doors project and I knew that I wanted to do it with cigarette butts, I went online to kind of see what other cigarette butt art is already out there. And I came across this guy. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, but his name is Nguyen Elisal. He does cigarette butt art over in Britain. And I was just enthralled with what he was able to do. He cuts them in half and then sticks them on his canvases with toothpaste. And yes, and so far, well, the articles that I read were all from 2019, but since 2019, he picked up 800,000 cigarette butts, whereas I'm just picking up 8,000. But after seeing what he did and his art and his messaging, I thought that's what I want to do, but on Oak Island and in Southport.
Wow. Well, I am very excited to see how this transpires. Now, do you anticipate any challenges, problems as you move forward doing this?
Yes, the biggest challenge I think I'm going to face is the epoxy. I've never worked with epoxy before, but I know people who have. So just mixing it correctly, pouring it correctly. I know the humidity has to be right, the temperatures have to be right, and someone just brought up, when the door is upright, having something to keep the epoxy in place in the indentation so it doesn't fall out. All of these types of things
Right.
will be challenges. And of course, that's all going to be the last step. So it's really going to determine
Yeah.
if this goes well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be nerve-wracking because you'll have your whole artwork all completely
Yes.
done how you want, and then there's going to be that apprehension of, am I going to ruin it by pouring it?
Exactly.
But I'm sure maybe you could do some practice pieces or something.
Oh yes, I have a lot of support. My boss at work, he's the one that's been telling me about all of his experience with epoxy, and I have 4 months to really get it down. My friend, one of the marshmallows, her name is Jennifer. She said I could use her garage, and she has built-in ceiling fans in there, for these types of purposes and everything. So, it's more climate controlled in there. So I'm already kind of developing the plan for how this is going to go smoothly.
Oh, well, good. Well, yeah. And the purpose of the epoxy is to help hold them in place, and then also, I mean, is that the main reason for the epoxy?
The main reason is to hold in all the gross from the cigarette butts.
Okay.
It's going to cover up any smells. We don't need anybody touching all of this. I'm going to be wearing gloves and a mask the whole time. I have been when I've been picking them up. So the epoxy is really holding all the gross.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm fascinated by this. I'd never heard of cigarette art before, so this is fascinating. And I'd never heard of the marshmallows or all this debris. So again, that is also fascinating. And I love the idea that that you're taking, trash and turning it into something that's a work of art. So it's a
Well, thank you.
wonderful message. So can we check back? Oh, so that's Cowboy, you said in the back. He's doing a little
Yes.
stretch.
He has the longest legs. Yeah.
Cowboy's adorable. Can we check back in with you and Cowboy in a few months and see how a few weeks?
Oh, sure. Yeah. The door, it's already prepped. I sanded it lightly. There was some super light areas that were kind of distracting. That's like where my eye went. So I kind of sanded everything, put one small coat of stain on there so everything kind of looks more uniform. I have sanded the indentations and they're primed, so they're ready to be painted. And yeah, the whole purpose of all of this is really just to bring attention to the litter problem. And like with the Open Your Doors project, the whole theme is survival and how history will affect the future and things like that. And so my mentality is that our litter will affect the future. It's not if, it's just a fact. So hopefully, I have hope that the world will be able to take all of our litter and use it in beautiful and useful ways. Kind of like how you see birds, they'll pick up plastic and use it to build their nests. So by having Old Baldy built with cigarette butts, what I'm kind of trying to say is this is, Old Baldy was a useful, was useful, and it is beautiful, and kind of see it through the lens of cigarette butts, because I kind of think that's going to be the future.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And also, part of our theme is, not just to survive, but to thrive. So when you're thinking coming out from behind our doors, coming out after a storm, whether it's a literal storm or the COVID storm, and then not just surviving, but thriving and turning things into beauty. And so it's a wonderful message, a certainly unique approach. And I look forward to talking to you in a few weeks when you're partway through the project. Let's get back together so we can kind of see maybe it in process, if you don't mind sharing.
Sure. Of course.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been great meeting you.
Thank you, Liz. You too.
All right. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.